John Callahan stood in the old courtroom, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. The room was nearly empty, just a few townsfolk scattered here and there on the wooden benches. Dust floated in the light streaming through the tall windows, making the air seem heavy and still. John wore an old hat and a coat that hung loose on him, as if it remembered a time when he was stronger. His boots were worn and scuffed, each step echoing in the silent room. The judge sat high above, looking down at John with a serious expression. He was a stern man who had seen many cases, but this one seemed to weigh on him differently. He cleared his throat and spoke in a firm voice. John listened as the judge read the charges. Back taxes were owed, and if not paid, his ranch would be taken away. John's ranch had been his life, but it had suffered since his wife passed away 2 years ago. The cattle had dwindled, and the land had turned hard and unforgiving. John stood alone, holding his hat tightly in his hands. The judge asked if anyone was there to speak for him. John looked around, but the empty benches gave him no comfort. His voice was dry and cracked as he admitted there was no one. The townsfolk, those who used to respect him, now only watched with indifference. John was once a man they listened to, but time and grief had reduced him to this moment, standing alone. The silence in the room was thick, and the air felt heavy. Then, suddenly, the doors at the back of the courtroom swung open with a loud creak. Heads turned as a small figure appeared in the doorway. It was a young girl, no more than 10 years old. Her clothes were worn and faded, and her hair was tangled from the wind. She walked with determination, her eyes fixed on John as she made her way down the aisle. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as she approached the bench. The judge raised an eyebrow, curious about this unexpected interruption. The girl stopped by John's side and looked up at the judge. Her voice was clear and unwavering as she claimed John as her father. The declaration shocked everyone, including John, who looked down at her with surprise. The judge, intrigued by the girl's boldness, called her forward. John followed her to the bench, unsure of what to make of this situation. The townsfolk leaned in, eager to hear more. The judge asked the girl to explain herself. She stood straight, her eyes meeting the judge's with a mix of fear and determination. She said her name was Lily and that John was her father. John had no recollection of her, and his mind raced with questions. How could this girl, a stranger, claim such a thing? The townsfolk murmured, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding drama. The judge, sensing there was more to the story, decided to adjourn the court for the day to give John and Lily time to talk. Outside the courthouse, the sun was bright, contrasting the heavy atmosphere inside. John and Lily stood on the steps, the weight of the moment between them. John looked at her, trying to understand. Lily met his gaze, her eyes full of something he couldn't quite grasp. She began to speak, her voice softer now, telling him bits of her past. Lily explained that she had been traveling alone for some time. Her mother, who had passed away recently, always spoke of a man named John Callahan. Lily said there was a letter, now lost, that mentioned John as her father. As she spoke, John felt a mix of confusion and something else, something that stirred deep within him. Despite his doubts, there was a part of John that wanted to believe her. Maybe it was the way she spoke, or the look in her eyes, but something about her story touched him. He decided to take her back to the ranch, hoping to find answers. The townsfolk watched as they left together, a man and a girl bound by uncertainty. The ride back to the ranch was quiet. The road was dusty, and the sun hung low in the sky. John and Lily sat side by side in the wagon, each lost in their own thoughts. John glanced at Lily from time to time, trying to see if he could find any resemblance, any sign that her story might be true. When they reached the ranch, it looked as tired as John felt. The fences sagged, and the fields were overgrown. It was a place that once thrived but now struggled to survive. John helped Lily down from the wagon, and together they walked toward the house. It was a simple place, worn but sturdy. Inside, the air was cool and the shadows were long. John showed Lily around, pointing out the rooms and the things that had been his life for so long. Lily listened, her eyes taking in everything with quiet curiosity. John could see she was trying to imagine herself there, trying to fit into a place she had never known. The evening passed slowly. John cooked a simple meal and they ate in silence. Lily seemed tired, and John could see the weight of her journey in her eyes. He set up a place for her to sleep, a small room that had been empty for too long. As she settled in, John stood in the doorway, unsure of what to say. The night was quiet, the only sound the distant call of a night bird. John lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind was a jumble of thoughts and questions. Who was this girl? Why had she come to him? As he drifted into sleep, one thought lingered. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she was his daughter. The next morning, the sun rose slowly, casting light across the land. John woke early, as he always did, and found Lily already awake. She stood by the window looking out at the ranch. Her eyes were filled with wonder and something else, something that made John pause. Together, they stepped outside, the day full of possibilities. John decided to show Lily the ranch, to teach her about the land and the animals. It was a way to keep busy, to avoid the questions that hung between them. As they walked, John talked about the work that needed to be done, the challenges they faced. Lily listened, her eyes wide with interest. She asked questions, her curiosity genuine. John found himself enjoying her company, her presence a reminder of what once was. As they worked side by side, a small bond began to form, fragile but real. The townsfolk remained skeptical, their eyes on John and Lily whenever they went into town. Whispers followed them, questions about Lily's claim and John's decision to take her in. But for now, none of that mattered. What mattered was the land, the work, and the small moments of connection that grew each day. As the sun began to set, John and Lily stood together, looking out over the fields. The sky was a canvas of colors, the day ending with a promise of tomorrow. John felt a sense of calm, a feeling he hadn't known in a long time. Lily stood beside him, silent but present. In that moment, John understood that whether or not Lily was his daughter by blood didn't matter. What mattered was the choice to believe, to open his heart to the possibility of family and love. As the light faded, John knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The early morning sun reached the ranch, casting long shadows across the yard. John Callahan was already awake, moving through the house with quiet purpose. Lily, the young girl who claimed to be his daughter, was still asleep. Her presence in his home was new and unexpected, yet somehow, it felt like she belonged. As John prepared breakfast, his mind wandered to the events of the previous day. The courtroom, the judge, the townsfolk, all seemed like a distant memory. But Lily was real and she was here. Her claim that he was her father had stirred something inside him, something he couldn't quite place. When Lily finally awoke, she found John in the kitchen, a simple meal ready. She sat at the table, her eyes curious but cautious. The room was silent, only the sound of utensils breaking the quiet. John tried to make small talk, asking if she had slept well. Lily nodded, her answers brief but polite. After breakfast, John decided it was time to learn more about Lily's story. They sat on the porch, the air cool and fresh. John asked Lily to tell him more about her past, about her journey to find him. Lily hesitated, her small hands twisting in her lap. But then she began to speak, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. Lily talked about her mother, a woman named Anna. She described her mother as kind but often sad, always talking about a man named John Callahan. Lily said they moved often, never staying in one place for too long. Her mother would tell stories about a ranch and a man who would one day come for them. But that day never came. When her mother fell ill, Lily became her caretaker. They had little money and fewer friends, but Lily did her best. As her mother's health declined, she spoke more of John, urging Lily to find him if anything happened. Lily said there was a letter, a piece of paper that mentioned John as her father. But during her travels, she lost it, leaving her with only her mother's words. John listened, his heart heavy with each detail. He could see the truth in Lily's eyes, the sincerity in her voice. Still, doubt lingered. He had no memory of Anna, no recollection of a past that connected him to this girl. Yet, something in Lily's story touched him deeply. The townsfolk, meanwhile, were buzzing with gossip. Lily's sudden appearance and her bold claim had set tongues wagging. People speculated about John's past, wondering if he had secrets hidden away. But John paid them little mind. His focus was on the girl beside him and the puzzle of her story. As the day went on, John decided to show Lily more of the ranch. They walked through the fields, John pointing out the different tasks that kept the place running. Lily listened intently, her eyes wide with interest. She asked questions, eager to learn about the land and its rhythms. John found himself enjoying these moments, the simplicity of teaching and sharing his world. Lily's presence was a reminder of the future, a chance to rebuild something he thought lost. As they worked side by side, John felt a sense of purpose returning, a feeling he had not known for a long time. Despite his growing attachment to Lily, John knew they needed answers. He remembered old letters and photographs stored away in the attic, remnants of a life that seemed so distant now. Perhaps they held clues to the past, pieces that could confirm or deny Lily's claim. That afternoon, John climbed the narrow stairs to the attic, Lily following close behind. The space was dim and dusty, filled with boxes and forgotten memories. John searched through the piles, his hands moving aside the cobwebs of time. Lily watched, her eyes hopeful but uncertain. Finally, John found an old trunk, its hinges creaking as he opened it. Inside were letters, some yellowed with age, and photographs, faded but clear. John's heart skipped as he recognized some familiar faces, moments captured from a time before life grew so complicated. Lily leaned in, her eyes scanning the contents. Her hand reached for a photograph, a picture of a woman with a gentle smile. John looked at it, feeling a strange tug of recognition. Could this be Anna, the woman Lily spoke of? He couldn't be sure, but the resemblance to Lily was striking. As they continued to sort through the letters, John found one addressed to him. The handwriting was unfamiliar, yet the words were clear. It spoke of a love once shared, a promise made and broken. The letter mentioned a child, a daughter named Lily. John's heart raced as he read, the truth settling in with a mixture of joy and sorrow. Lily watched him closely, sensing the shift in his demeanor. John looked at her, his eyes softening with understanding. He realized that her story was more than just words. It was a connection to a past he had forgotten, a bond he never knew existed. With the evidence in hand, John felt a newfound sense of resolve. He would protect Lily, embrace the role of a father, and fight for their place on the ranch. The doubts that lingered began to fade, replaced by a determination to build a future together. The sun was setting as they left the attic, shadows stretching across the yard. John and Lily stood outside, the cool evening air wrapping around them. John felt a calm he hadn't known in years, a peace that came from understanding and acceptance. He looked at Lily, seeing her not as a stranger but as family. Her presence had brought change and with it hope. As the stars appeared in the night sky, John knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The days that followed were filled with work and learning. John taught Lily the ways of the ranch, the skills needed to keep it alive. In turn, Lily brought laughter and light, her spirit a balm to John's weary heart. The bond between them grew stronger, the uncertainties of the past slowly giving way to a shared future. The townsfolk continued to watch, their whispers a constant background to their lives. But John no longer cared about their opinions. He had found something more important, a daughter, a chance to make things right. As they stood together, looking out over the fields, John felt a sense of completeness. The journey had been unexpected and difficult, but it had led him to something precious. Lily, once a stranger, was now a part of him, a part of the ranch and a part of the life he was rebuilding. The night was quiet, the stars bright above them. John knew there were still questions to answer and hurdles to overcome. But with Lily by his side, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Together, they would carve out a new beginning, a future built on love, trust, and the strength of family. As they turned to head back inside, John felt a warmth in his heart, a promise of better days ahead. And in that moment, he knew that they were no longer alone. John Callahan and Lily spent their days working together on the ranch. The land was tough, with patches of dry soil and broken fences. John showed Lily how to mend the fences, feed the animals, and tend to the small garden they had. The work was hard, but it kept them busy and gave them a shared purpose. Lily watched John closely, mimicking his actions and learning quickly. She was eager to help, her small hands steady as she worked. John found himself smiling more, the burden of the past lightening with each day spent with Lily. Her presence brought a warmth to the ranch that he had not felt in a long time. Despite their growing bond, John was unsure how to be a father. He was a man of few words, more comfortable with the silence of the land than the demands of raising a child. Lily seemed to understand this, giving him space when he needed it, but always ready with a question or a smile. The ranch mirrored their relationship, showing signs of wear but also moments of promise. The fields were slowly coming back to life, and the animals seemed more content. As they worked, John and Lily shared stories and laughter, finding small joys in their routine. The townsfolk remained skeptical of Lily's sudden appearance. When John and Lily went into town for supplies, they could feel the eyes on them, hear the whispers that followed. People were curious, suspicious of the girl who claimed to be John's daughter. But John ignored the gossip, focusing instead on the work that needed to be done. One afternoon, as they were repairing a broken fence, Lily paused and looked at John. She asked him about her mother, about the woman who had spoken so fondly of the ranch and the man named John Callahan. John hesitated, unsure of what to say. He spoke of memories that were vague, of a time when he was younger and the world seemed full of possibilities. Lily listened, her eyes thoughtful. She shared her own memories of her mother, painting a picture of a woman who loved deeply but carried her own burdens. The conversation brought them closer, each story a thread that wove their lives together. In the evenings, after the work was done, John and Lily would sit on the porch, watching the sun set over the fields. The sky was a canvas of colors, the day ending with a quiet promise of tomorrow. They talked about everything and nothing, the words flowing easily between them. John found himself opening up to Lily in ways he hadn't expected. He talked about his wife, about the pain of losing her and the struggles that followed. Lily listened, her presence a comfort. In return, she shared her dreams, her hopes for the future. The bond between them grew stronger, built on shared experiences and mutual respect. They were not just father and daughter but partners in rebuilding the ranch and their lives. The work was hard, but the rewards were worth it, each day bringing them closer to a sense of belonging. As time passed, Lily began to feel more comfortable in her new home. She explored the ranch, discovering hidden corners and forgotten treasures. She found an old swing hanging from a tree, its ropes frayed but still strong. John fixed it for her, and soon it became her favorite spot, a place where she could dream and play. John watched Lily with a mix of pride and wonder. She was a resilient child, her spirit unbroken by the hardships she had faced. Her laughter filled the air, a reminder of the life and joy that could be found even in difficult times. Despite their progress, John couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. He worried about Lily's place in the community, about the whispers that followed them. He wanted her to feel accepted, to have a place where she could thrive. Lily, too, struggled with fitting in. The townsfolk were polite but distant, unsure of what to make of her. She attended school, but the other children were wary, their curiosity about her tempered by the rumors they heard at home. John encouraged Lily to be patient, to give the town time to adjust. He knew it would take more than words to change minds, but he believed in the power of actions. Together, they would show the town that Lily belonged, that she was a part of the community. The days turned into weeks, and slowly, things began to change. Neighbors started to warm to Lily, drawn by her kindness and resilience. She made a friend, a girl from school who shared her love of stories and adventure. Their laughter could be heard across the fields, a testament to the healing power of friendship. John watched these changes with a heart full of hope. He saw Lily growing stronger, more confident in her place on the ranch and in the town. The bond between them continued to deepen, each day reinforcing the love and trust they had built. One evening, as they sat on the porch, John spoke of the future. He talked about plans for the ranch, about the improvements they would make together. Lily listened, her eyes shining with excitement. She felt a part of something bigger, a future that was bright and full of promise. John realized that he had found something he hadn't known he was missing. Lily had given him back his sense of purpose, his reason to fight for the ranch and the life they were building. She was not just a daughter but a partner, a reminder of the strength found in love and family. As the sun dipped below the horizon, John and Lily sat side by side, their hearts full of gratitude. The journey had been unexpected, the challenges great, but they had faced them together. In that moment, they knew they were not just surviving but thriving, their lives intertwined by choice and circumstance. Together, they looked to the future, confident in the path they were forging. The ranch was their home, a place of healing and growth, and as long as they had each other, they knew they could overcome anything. The night sky was filled with stars, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the possibilities that lay ahead. John and Lily sat in companionable silence, the bond between them stronger than ever. They were a family not by blood but by choice, and that made all the difference. Days at the ranch settled into a routine. John Callahan and Lily worked side by side, their bond strengthening with each passing day. The land was slowly coming back to life under their care. Fields that once lay barren now showed signs of growth, and the animals seemed healthier. The ranch was more than just a place to live. It was a testament to their hard work and determination. One afternoon, as John and Lily were clearing out an old shed, Lily's curiosity got the better of her. She loved exploring the ranch, finding hidden corners and forgotten treasures. John encouraged her curiosity, knowing it was how she learned and grew. As they moved boxes and old tools, Lily discovered a trapdoor in the floorboards. It was dusty and looked like it hadn't been opened in years. John knelt beside her, brushing away the dirt. Together, they lifted the heavy door, revealing a small space beneath. Inside, they found an old trunk covered in cobwebs. Lily's eyes widened with excitement, wondering what secrets it might hold. John carefully opened the trunk, the hinges creaking with age. Inside were letters and photographs, remnants of a past long forgotten. Lily picked up a bundle of letters, their edges yellowed with time. John's hands trembled slightly as he recognized the handwriting. It was from a time before, when life was different and the world seemed full of promise. As they sorted through the letters, John found one that caught his eye. It was addressed to him, the handwriting familiar yet distant. The letter spoke of a love once shared, of dreams and hopes that never came to be. It mentioned a child, a daughter named Lily, and a promise made long ago. John's heart raced as he read, the words connecting dots that had been scattered for so long. Lily watched him, sensing the importance of what he held. She asked about the woman in the photographs, her mother, and the stories behind the letters. John took a deep breath, knowing it was time to share more of the past, to fill in the gaps of Lily's story. He spoke of Anna, a woman he had loved dearly. They had met when they were young, full of dreams and plans for the future. But life had taken them down different paths, and they had lost touch. The letters revealed a story he hadn't known, a connection that explained so much about Lily's journey to find him. Lily listened intently, her eyes wide with wonder. The letters and photographs were pieces of a puzzle, fitting together to form a picture of a past she had only heard of in whispers. They showed her a side of her mother she hadn't known, a life filled with hope and love. John felt a mix of emotions as he shared these stories. There was joy in the discovery, but also a lingering sadness for what could have been. The letters were a reminder of the choices made, the paths taken, and the dreams left behind. But they also brought clarity, a deeper understanding of why Lily had come to him. As the afternoon sun began to set, John and Lily sat together, surrounded by the remnants of the past. The air was filled with a sense of closure, a feeling that the missing pieces were finally coming together. John knew that the letters were more than just words on a page. They were a connection to a time long gone, a bond that had endured despite the years and distance. With this newfound understanding, John felt a stronger resolve to protect Lily, to ensure she had the future she deserved. The ranch was not just a place to live, but a sanctuary where they could build a life together. The work was far from over, but they faced it with renewed determination. The next day, John and Lily returned to their routine, but something had shifted. There was a lightness in their steps, a sense of purpose that hadn't been there before. The townsfolk continued to watch, their curiosity undiminished. But John no longer cared about their whispers. He had found something more important: a daughter, a partner, and a reason to fight for their future. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between John and Lily grew stronger. They worked together, side by side, sharing the joys and challenges of life on the ranch. The land responded to their care, slowly transforming into a place of beauty and growth. Lily continued to explore, her curiosity leading her to new discoveries. She found old tools and forgotten books, each item telling a story of the past. John encouraged her to learn, to ask questions, and to dream. He knew that her curiosity was a gift, a sign of her resilience and strength. Despite the challenges, John felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. The ranch was thriving, and so was their relationship. They faced each day with a sense of purpose, driven by the knowledge that they were building something lasting. The townsfolk, once skeptical, began to see the changes. They watched as John and Lily worked together, their bond evident in the way they moved and spoke. Slowly, opinions shifted and acceptance grew. Neighbors who had once been distant began to offer help, their curiosity turning to support. Lily made new friends, her laughter a welcome sound in the community. She was no longer a stranger, but a part of the town, her presence a reminder of the power of love and family. John watched her with pride, knowing that she had found her place. As the sun set each evening, John and Lily sat on the porch, their hearts full of gratitude. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had led them to where they needed to be. They were not just surviving. They were thriving, their lives intertwined by choice and circumstance. Together, they looked to the future, confident in the path they were forging. The ranch was their home, a place of healing and growth. And as long as they had each other, they knew they could overcome anything. The night sky was filled with stars, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the possibilities that lay ahead. John and Lily sat in companionable silence, the bond between them stronger than ever. They were a family not by blood but by choice, and that made all the difference. Life on the ranch continued to improve for John Callahan and Lily. They worked hard and saw the results in the land and in themselves. The fields were greener, the animals healthier, and their bond stronger. But not everyone was happy with their progress. The townsfolk had started to accept Lily, seeing her as part of the community. Yet, there were whispers that lingered, fueled by those who still doubted her story. Among the doubters was Mr. Thompson, an influential banker with his eyes on John's land. Mr. Thompson had always been interested in the ranch, seeing its potential for profit. He watched John and Lily's success with growing irritation. The rumors about Lily's parentage gave him a tool to use, a way to pressure John into selling. One afternoon, Mr. Thompson approached John outside the general store. He was all smiles, but his eyes were cold. He spoke of business and opportunities, hinting at a better future if John sold the ranch. John listened politely but made it clear he had no interest in selling. Mr. Thompson's smile faded, replaced by a hard edge in his voice. He mentioned the rumors about Lily, questioning her legitimacy and John's ability to care for her. He suggested that a man with a daughter of uncertain background might not be the best guardian for the ranch. John felt anger rise, but he kept his voice steady. He declared that Lily was his daughter and that the ranch was their home. He warned Mr. Thompson to keep his opinions to himself and walked away, leaving the banker fuming. The confrontation became the talk of the town. People gossiped about John's bold stand and Mr. Thompson's intentions. Some sided with John, admiring his courage. Others were swayed by the banker's influence, doubting John's ability to keep the ranch afloat. Lily heard the whispers too. They followed her at school and in town, lingering like shadows. She tried to ignore them, focusing on her work and her friends. But the doubts hurt, and she worried about the trouble she might be causing John. One evening, as they sat on the porch, Lily confided in John about her fears. She spoke of the rumors, the questions about her place in his life. John listened, his heart heavy with the weight of her words. He reassured her, speaking of family and belonging. He promised that they would face the challenges together, no matter what the town said. The days that followed were tense. Mr. Thompson intensified his efforts, spreading rumors and sowing doubt. He visited neighbors, hinting at trouble on the horizon if John continued to resist. The whispers grew louder, casting a shadow over the progress John and Lily had made. But John was determined. He knew the truth of Lily's story, the bond they had forged. He refused to be swayed by threats or gossip. Instead, he focused on the ranch, on the work that grounded them and gave them purpose. Lily sensed John's resolve, finding strength in his determination. She continued to explore the ranch, discovering new corners and hidden treasures. Her curiosity was a balm, a reminder of the joy and wonder that lay beneath the surface of their struggles. One day, while exploring the edge of the property, Lily found an old path leading into the woods. She followed it, her steps light and eager. The path wound through the trees, leading to a small clearing. In the center stood a stone well, its stones worn smooth by time. Lily leaned over the well, peering into its depths. The water was clear and still, reflecting the sky above. She tossed a pebble in, watching the ripples spread. The sight filled her with a sense of peace, a reminder of the beauty that lay beyond the whispers and doubts. Meanwhile, John continued to work on the ranch, his days filled with tasks and plans. He met with neighbors, sharing stories and seeking advice. Slowly, he built a network of support, people who believed in him and Lily, who saw the potential in their efforts. The tension with Mr. Thompson simmered, but John refused to back down. He knew the fight was not just for the land but for Lily, for the life they were building together. Each day was a step forward, a chance to prove themselves and silence the doubts. As the sun set each evening, John and Lily sat on the porch, their hearts full of determination. They spoke of the future, of dreams and plans that stretched beyond the horizon. The journey had been long and difficult, but they faced it with courage and hope. The ranch was more than just a place to live. It was a symbol of their resilience, their willingness to fight for what mattered. John knew there were still challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them, knowing that together they could overcome anything. The stars filled the night sky, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the possibilities that lay ahead. John and Lily sat in companionable silence, the bond between them stronger than ever. They were a family not by blood but by choice, and that made all the difference. As they watched the stars, John felt a sense of calm settle over him. The whispers and doubts were still there, but they were no longer important. What mattered was the family they had become, the life they were building together. Together, they looked to the future with confidence, knowing that whatever lay ahead, they would face it side by side. The ranch was their home, a place of healing and growth, and as long as they had each other, they knew they could overcome anything. John Callahan and Lily faced increasing pressure from the town. The whispers had grown into a storm of doubt, fueled by Mr. Thompson's influence. The banker was determined to take the ranch, using every rumor and suspicion to his advantage. John and Lily continued their daily routine, but the tension was palpable. The ranch was their sanctuary, but the outside world pressed in with relentless force. The rumors about Lily's parentage and John's ability to care for her became a weapon in the hands of those who wanted to see them fail. The situation came to a head when John received a letter from the local court. Mr. Thompson had filed a legal challenge against John's guardianship of Lily. The letter demanded that John prove Lily's legitimacy as his daughter and his right to keep the ranch. John read the letter in silence, the weight of its words heavy in his hands. He knew this was Mr. Thompson's doing, a calculated move to force his hand. The court date was set, and the pressure mounted. John felt the familiar chill of fear, but he refused to let it take hold. Lily sensed the change in John, the worry that clouded his eyes. She approached him, her small hand reaching for his. She asked if everything was okay, her voice steady but filled with concern. John hesitated, knowing he had to be honest with her. He explained the situation, the challenge they faced. Lily listened, her eyes wide with understanding. She felt a pang of guilt, worried that she was the cause of John's troubles. She considered leaving, running away to spare him further pain. But John's words stopped her. He spoke of family, of their bond, and the strength they found in each other. He reassured her that they would face the court challenge together, that they would fight for their right to stay on the ranch. His words gave Lily courage, a reminder that she was not alone. The fear that had gripped her heart began to fade, replaced by determination. Together, they began to prepare for the court hearing. John gathered evidence, the letters and photographs that told their story. They reached out to those who knew Lily's mother, seeking testimonies that would support their case. The days were filled with work and planning, each step bringing them closer to the truth. Lily found comfort in the routine, the tasks that kept her busy and focused. She confided in an elderly neighbor, a kind woman who had become a friend. The neighbor listened, offering advice and support. She reminded Lily of her strength, the resilience that had brought her this far. As the court date approached, John and Lily shared a rare moment of vulnerability. They sat together on the porch, the evening air cool around them. John spoke of his fears, the uncertainty that lay ahead. Lily listened, her presence a comfort. In that moment, they found strength in each other, their bond unbreakable. The day of the court hearing arrived, the courtroom filled with people. The judge sat high above, his expression serious as he called the proceedings to order. Mr. Thompson's lawyer presented a case filled with insinuations and doubts, questioning Lily's claim and John's ability to care for her. John and Lily listened, their resolve unwavering. When it was their turn, John stood with Lily by his side. He presented the letters and photographs, telling the story of a love lost and a daughter found. The judge listened, his eyes thoughtful as he considered their testimony. Lily spoke for herself, her voice steady and clear. She explained her journey, the search for family and belonging. Her words were simple but powerful, winning the hearts of many in the room. The judge watched her closely, sensing the truth in her story. When the judge asked John why he believed Lily was his daughter, John spoke from the heart. He talked about family, the bonds we choose to honor, and the strength found in love. His words were filled with sincerity, a reflection of the truth they had lived. The judge considered their case, the evidence presented and the sincerity of their testimony. The courtroom was silent, the tension thick as they awaited his decision. Finally, the judge spoke, ruling in their favor. He acknowledged Lily as John's daughter and dismissed Mr. Thompson's claims. The relief was immediate, a wave of emotion washing over John and Lily. They had won, their bond recognized and protected. The courtroom erupted in whispers and cheers, the tension broken by the judge's ruling. As they left the courthouse, John and Lily were greeted by supportive neighbors. People who had once doubted them now offered congratulations and encouragement. The tide had turned, their story a testament to the power of truth and perseverance. Back at the ranch, John and Lily celebrated their victory. The sun set behind the hills, casting a warm glow over the fields. The air was filled with the scent of earth and growth, a reminder of the life they had built. John knew there were still challenges ahead, but he faced them with renewed confidence. The ranch was their home, a place of healing and growth, and as long as they had each other, they knew they could overcome anything. Together, they looked to the future, their hearts full of hope and determination. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had led them to where they needed to be. They were a family not by blood but by choice, and that made all the difference. The court's decision brought a new sense of peace to John Callahan and Lily. The weight of doubt and whispers had lifted, leaving room for hope and renewal. The ranch was theirs, and their bond was recognized. They returned home to a place that now felt even more like their sanctuary. Life on the ranch continued, but with a lighter heart. John and Lily threw themselves into the work, driven by the promise of a future they could now see clearly. The fields flourished under their care, the animals thriving in the safety of their efforts. Each day was a step forward, a chance to build on the foundation they had fought so hard to secure. The townsfolk, once skeptical, had mostly come to accept Lily. The court ruling had silenced many of the doubters, and the support from neighbors grew. John and Lily found themselves surrounded by a community that, while still curious, was now largely on their side. In the days following the court hearing, John received visits from people who had once kept their distance. They came with offers of friendship, apologies for past doubts, and even offers to help with the ranch. John accepted these gestures with grace, understanding that change took time and effort. Lily, too, felt the shift in the town's attitude. At school, the other children no longer looked at her with suspicion. She had friends who stood by her, their laughter and companionship brightening her days. She felt a part of the community, a feeling she had longed for since arriving at the ranch. Despite the victory, John knew that Mr. Thompson would not give up easily. The banker had been humiliated in court, and his ambitions for the ranch remained. John kept a watchful eye, prepared for any new challenges that might arise. But for now, the threat seemed distant, overshadowed by the sense of security their victory had brought. One afternoon, while working in the field, Lily approached John with a question. Her eyes were thoughtful, her brow furrowed with curiosity. She wanted to know more about the future, about what they could do to ensure the ranch would thrive for years to come. John paused, considering her question. He spoke of plans to expand the garden, to plant new crops that would diversify their harvest. He mentioned repairing the barn, making it a better shelter for the animals. Lily listened intently, her mind racing with ideas. Together, they spent the afternoon planning, their conversation filled with dreams and possibilities. John was impressed by Lily's insight, her ability to see beyond the immediate needs of the ranch. Her ideas were practical, yet filled with the hope of a young mind eager to learn and grow. As the sun began to set, John and Lily sat on the porch, their plans laid out before them. The future felt tangible, a path lined with the promise of growth and prosperity. They talked about the changes they would make, the work that lay ahead. John felt a sense of pride, knowing that Lily was not just his daughter but his partner in this journey. In the following weeks, they began to put their plans into action. They worked tirelessly, each task bringing them closer to their goals. The ranch transformed under their care, the fields lush with new growth, the barn sturdy and welcoming. Neighbors noticed the changes, offering praise and support. The sense of community grew stronger, with offers of help and shared resources. John and Lily found themselves part of a network of people who cared about the ranch and its future. Lily thrived in this environment, her confidence growing with each success. She took on more responsibility, helping John with the animals and the fields. Her laughter was a constant presence, a reminder of the joy they had found together. Despite the hard work, there was time for play and relaxation. John encouraged Lily to explore, to enjoy the beauty of the land they called home. She spent her free hours discovering new corners of the ranch, her imagination painting adventures in every shadow and stream. One evening, as they sat on the porch, Lily asked John about the past. She wanted to know more about his life before the ranch, the journeys that had led him to where he was now. John hesitated, the memories both sweet and painful. But he knew it was important to share, to give Lily a deeper understanding of who he was. He spoke of his youth, of dreams and ambitions that had shaped his path. He talked about the people he had met, the places he had seen. He shared stories of love and loss, of the lessons learned along the way. Lily listened, her eyes wide with interest, her questions thoughtful and probing. John found comfort in sharing these stories, the act of remembering a balm to his soul. He realized that the past, while filled with challenges, had also brought him to this moment, to a life he cherished with a daughter he had come to love deeply. As the stars appeared in the night sky, John and Lily sat in companionable silence. The bond between them, forged in trials and triumphs, was unbreakable. They were a family, united by choice and strengthened by the journey they had shared. The ranch was their home, a place where dreams took root and flourished. Together, they looked to the future with confidence, knowing that whatever lay ahead, they would face it side by side. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had led them to where they needed to be. In the quiet of the evening, with the world at peace around them, John and Lily knew that they had found something precious. They had built a life filled with love, resilience, and hope, and that, they knew, was the true heart of the ranch and their family. Spring arrived at the ranch with a burst of color and life. The fields were green, dotted with wildflowers, and the air was fresh with the promise of new beginnings. John Callahan and Lily felt the change, their hearts light with the season's renewal. The court's decision had given them security, and their hard work had transformed the ranch. John and Lily had planted new crops, repaired fences, and tended to the animals with care. The land, once tired and worn, now thrived under their diligent hands. The community, once skeptical, had embraced them. Neighbors stopped by to chat, offering help and friendship. The whispers of doubt had faded, replaced by words of support and admiration. John and Lily had earned their place, their story a testament to resilience and love. One morning, as they walked through the fields, John and Lily talked about the future. The sun was warm on their faces, and the sky stretched wide above them. John spoke of expansion, of dreams to grow the ranch even further. He mentioned new ideas, plans that would secure their livelihood for years to come. Lily, full of energy and ideas, shared her thoughts. She spoke of a bigger garden, of more animals, of all the things they could achieve together. Her vision was bright, filled with possibilities that made John's heart swell with pride. Their conversation turned to the past, to the journey that had brought them here. John reflected on the challenges they had faced, the battles fought and won. Each step had been a lesson, a building block for the life they now lived. Lily listened, her eyes bright with understanding. She knew the story well, the ups and downs that had shaped her path. She felt grateful for the struggles, for the way they had brought her to a place where she belonged. As they walked, they came across the old swing hanging from the tree. It swayed gently in the breeze, a reminder of the simple joys they had found together. Lily ran to it, her laughter ringing through the air as she swung back and forth. John watched, a smile on his face, thankful for the happiness they had built. Back at the house, they spent the afternoon working on their projects. John repaired the barn roof, ensuring it would withstand the summer storms. Lily tended to the garden, her hands gentle as she cared for the young plants. Their work was steady and focused, each task bringing them closer to their goals. The evening came, the sun setting in a blaze of color. John and Lily sat on the porch, their bodies tired but their spirits high. They talked about the day, about the plans they had made and the dreams they held. The future was bright, a path lined with hope and potential. As the stars appeared, John felt a sense of peace settle over him. The ranch was thriving, their bond was strong, and they had found a place where they could grow. The challenges they had faced had only made them more resilient, more determined to succeed. Lily leaned against him, her eyes on the sky. She spoke of the stars, of how they seemed endless and full of possibilities. John nodded, feeling the truth of her words. The world was vast, and their place in it was secure. In the weeks that followed, they continued to work, each day a step toward a future they could now see clearly. The ranch became a hub of activity, a place where neighbors gathered to share stories and lend a hand. John and Lily were at the center of it all, their hard work and determination an inspiration to those around them. The seasons passed, each bringing new challenges and rewards. The ranch flourished, a testament to the dedication and care they poured into it. John and Lily faced each day with gratitude, knowing that they had built something lasting and true. One afternoon, as they sat on the porch, Lily asked John about the future. She wanted to know what dreams he still held, what paths they might explore together. John smiled, feeling the warmth of her question. He spoke of travel, of exploring new lands and learning new things. He talked about sharing their story, inspiring others with the journey they had taken. Lily listened, her heart full of excitement. She imagined the adventures they could have, the places they might see. Her mind raced with possibilities, each one a new chapter in the life they were building. As the sun set, casting golden light across the fields, John and Lily sat in silence, content in the moment. Their journey had been long and filled with trials, but it had brought them to a place of peace and fulfillment. They were a family, bound by love and choice, their lives intertwined by the path they had walked together. The night was quiet, the stars bright above them. John felt a deep sense of gratitude, knowing that they had found something precious. The ranch was more than just land. It was a home, a place of healing and growth. Together, they had created a life filled with love, resilience, and hope. As the world settled into darkness, John and Lily knew that their journey was far from over. The future stretched wide before them, a canvas waiting to be painted with new experiences and dreams. They were ready to face it, side by side, their hearts full of the promise of tomorrow. Together, they looked to the stars, confident in the path they were forging. The ranch was their sanctuary, a testament to the power of love and determination. And as long as they had each other, they knew they could overcome anything. In the quiet of the night, with the world at peace around them, John and Lily knew that they had found something truly special. They had built a life filled with love and hope, a legacy that would endure for generations to come, and that, they knew, was the true heart of the ranch and their family.